Real estate is not for the weak. I'm trying to tell you, it really is not for the weak. And throughout this process, it's like an emotional roller coaster. You're going to have your highs and you're going to have your lows. You're going to have the moments where you're so excited that you got an offer accepted and everything is going so good. Then you're going to have the moments when you missed out on the deal that they might have taken somebody else's offer. I faced both of those situations, and I'm here to tell you that like it's one of those things where you just really got to be really self motivated and really driven to keep going past all that adversity because you know the long term goal in mind, and that's just how I've been and what I live by to stay motivated, keep on going. When you start something, you finish it, and that's why I'm here today to share my story with you guys. So one of the properties I'm going to actually about talk about three of the properties. The third one was actually most recently. The first property, I believe we put in an offer. This was my other real estate agent I was with. We put in an offer for about like 220,000, and this property was really a good property, to be honest. Like I really liked this property. It was really good, and um, I believe there was a lot of cosmetics things that needed done to it, like especially the walls. The plaster walls in this property was cracking, so there was a lot of cracks. So me and my real estate agent at the time talked about um, either replacing all the walls, the plaster walls, with drywall, which can get pricey, or my contractor was telling me about another way that you can do it to where you can mask the cracks and make it look really flushed and like brand new. So it was just multiple options for that property, but overall, like this property was really good. The kitchen was in really decent shape. I do know that it needed new appliances and upgrades. A lot of this needed cosmetic upgrades, but the good part about it, I believe, was the HVAC unit was actually replaced recently at this property, and I really loved that. But the basement definitely needed a lot of work too. Excuse me. And but yeah, so I think on this property, they had 22 offers. This is a three bedroom. And also, too, I go for properties that at least have three bedrooms. That's what I learned through my research, that it's better for investment property to at least go for properties that's around three bedrooms. So yeah, this property had three bedrooms, and I think they had 22 offers on this property. And yeah, we offered 220, and this property ended up selling for 247, which is actually crazy. But the reason why we didn't overshoot on this property was through the BRRR, the BRRRR method. And through our calculations, we figured out, okay, 220 was our zone. We will go no higher than 220 on an offer. And you sometimes you just got to stick to the plan. You can't overextend yourself in a way, because ultimately the goal of the bird method is to be able to get your money out, at the very least be able to get your full amount of money out of the deal. And through the calculations, it just wasn't there. And then also, we factored in the renovation costs that it would take. I think we said it was going to be around like 60 to 80,000 in renovations. I think more so on the 60,000 side. And I think the ARV on this property ended up being, I think, around like 350 to 380. So that was a really good opportunity. This property, oh my God, let me tell you about this property. This one really hurt too. I'll say this was second most disappointment that I was disappointed on, because this property was a type of property that I could also see myself living in, along with the first one. This property had like blueprints and everything. And look, I actually, where is it even at? I know I actually got a blueprint right here of this property, actually. Yeah, here it is. It's right here, actually. Look. So look, this is the blueprint right here, and I actually created a sketch of the blueprint of how I wanted things to look. How I wanted, so you can see I wanted recessed lights put in, a fan put in that room, a fan put in that room. I wanted to add a balcony at the bottom, put an island right there, move the steps from this area to that area. Um, this was the bathroom. I was gonna move the steps that goes to the basement over here, extend the bathroom somewhat, a whole layout of what I was trying to do. But this property really did hurt me because multiple things went wrong with this process. Like to start, um, there was in one of the rooms, the floor was kind of sinking, like unlevel flooring. And to start off just from the jump, right? So we got in a bidding war like on this property. This property was on sale for 215. After me and my new real estate agent, shout out to Jawan, we looked at this property. Um, we was like, okay, this is going to need probably around 80,000 to 100,000 in renovations. So based off of our calculations, the ARV that we was going to get on this property, we calculated that okay, we'll go no higher than, I think our first offer was around 180. Yeah, it was around 180, and they were gonna they accepted the offer at 180, but they came back and counter offer for I believe the counter offer was around 187. So you know what? I countered back and I was like, well, 185. Let's do it. We was in the process of locking everything in, and then they came back and they said, oh well, we got, if y'all can do, we have another offer on the table that's willing to match that, and if y'all can do that, um at 192, the house is yours. So here's the caveat though. We had to waive inspections, and I didn't also know that we was waiving like appraisal and everything else. So but I was fine with it, and also it was kind of like still my first go round of locking in and getting the property accepted, the offer accepted on the property. So then after that, the hard money lender that we're going through, he needed access into the house, and the owner and the seller weren't trying to give us access into the property. They really was just not trying to give us access into the property for whatever reason, to do the appraisal on the property. So we was battling for like a week with them, and um finally, because we threatened to pull out of the offer, they finally granted us access to get into the property to do appraisal. But then also the agent had to be there during the process too, which it was just like the craziest process. So then, because of the week delay of going back and forth with the seller and his agent, we ended up having a tight deadline for closing. And because of that, we wanted to get an extension on the closing date, but it really wasn't possible. It kind of like was we was it was kind of pushing it. So we ultimately ended up just pulling out of the deal. And you know, like they said, it's part of real estate, and I was kind of hurt by this. But it is what it is. Like I keep looking at the bright side of things. Like, it is real estate. Everything is a learning lesson. So yeah. Um and then this most recently, this is why, another again, I say this real estate is not for the weak. The third property, which was in my last previous video, I posted on YouTube, and then also the reels that I posted of the house that had the gutted basement and uh, was doing renovations up on the top floor. This house was on list for, I think, 210. Through our calculations, we calculated that we needed probably around 100,000 for rehab budget on this property. So, and the ARV on this property was going to be around 380,000. So, with that being said, and it being at 380,000, we felt as though we felt comfortable around 200,000 offering on this property. And to be honest, my real estate agent told me, and it's like just like this screenshot in the beginning of the video, that they ended up going with another offer. And like I said, the real estate ain't for the weak. Like, I was kind of hurt because this house was honestly one of my most favorite houses throughout this whole entire process, just because it it just really had a really good home feel to it, like the big front yard, the big backyard, how much you can do with the basement, especially because they said that the reason why the house is on sale is because they ran out of budget, they ran out of money to fund the the renovations. So a lot of the plumbing was already done. It just needed a slab down, a concrete slab in the basement, framing out the basement, renovations to the top floor, which was going to be expensive, but I can see how, like, I can vision how I wanted the layout to be. So this one kind of hurt me. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I did some research and I kept thinking like, bruh, why is it that I'm not able to land something? There's been three properties that I've strongly had interest in over these past like month or two that I they did not accept my offer. So what is it? Well, like two properties that they didn't accept the offer, and then one of the properties we pulled out of the offer. But ultimately, we didn't. I didn't land any properties over this past month or two. And why is it? So I did some research and I found out that doing the BRR method, there's a lot of competition with doing the BRR method, like a lot of other investors too. So they said it takes about, what I've seen, it takes about 5 to 10 offers submitted for an investor to land one property. And that kind of made me feel a lot better because it made me, because it wasn't like I was doing something wrong. It's just like the timing just ain't right. And they also said, like, it's hard because everybody got a budget, and a lot of the people that's doing the BRRRR method, they got a budget, and everybody want the same thing, to get their money back out of the deal during the with the BRRRR method. So it's going to be really competitive for really good houses that I've been finding that has a really good return on investments. It's going to be hard and really competitive. So it's just one of those things where it helped me get motivated. It helped me stay motivated that, okay, at least I know it's not me doing something wrong. So that's why I'm keep going. I'm still in it. I'm still going strong, and like I said, I'm still self motivated. I'm gonna keep going. But yeah, that's all that I have for y'all today. Like and subscribe, and thank y'all so much for supporting me. I see all the love and the support, and I'm gonna keep it going, keep sharing the knowledge. And like I said, I'm not looking for anything in return but to just share my story, and hopefully inspire other people to go the same way, in the same route that I took, or maybe even a different route, but just to inspire people that the money is in real estate, and I came from nothing, and you will see the growth and see to where I get to. So I'm happy to keep y'all along on this journey, and thank you so much. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all on the next video.